USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of USC's 7th practice of spring camp. Now this spring it's different. We don't get to talk to head coach Clay Helton during the week, but we did get official confirmation that safety Talanoa Hufanga did indeed break his collarbone again in Saturday's scrimmage leg practice. He had surgery actually today on Tuesday. It went successfully and he will be out for 8 weeks. So that's unfortunate news for Talanoa. He was definitely a difference maker when he was out there on the defense. Dan, how do you see that affecting the physicality going forward this spring?
It doesn't look like it has, and I don't want them second guessing themselves and saying, oh, we shouldn't have them out there because they got a yellow jerseys on, or we got to take care of them or whatever. I didn't notice any difference today in terms of how they played the ball, how physical, how they were, and I don't think you can, and I don't think, you wished that A, Talanoa had realized that the ball was headed out of bounds by far, or B, you don't reach out and try to grab somebody in his situation. You just learn to, if you're going to fall, you protect yourself a little more. But relatively good news. If it helps him figure out exactly what he has to do to protect that collarbone, and it's easy to get excited and all of that. Because they're playing fast, they're playing hard, and I didn't see any. I know people, wrote in and said, "Oh, they're going to turtle up now, and everybody's going to be worried." It didn't look like it today. I don't think they can be. There's a lot of competition out there, and that's, I think, the best thing about competition is guys go into every practice, and they know somebody might be there to take their place. For example, if you were Stephen Carr and Vavae Malapai, and you missed last Thursday and Saturday, what happened? Marquis Step just went boom. Thank you very much. I'll take all these carries. I think that's a really good thing. Or guys have been missing, and Connor Murphy has said, "Okay, you want me to play this position or that position? Sure, I'll play them all." I think I'm seeing more of that. And that's what it's all about. I mean, it was the thing that Pete Carroll built his run on was competitive practices.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Marquis Step and Connor Murphy. The thing that joins them too is the theme of losing weight and how much weight determines your speed and your athletic ability on the field. You got to talk to Marquis Step today about his weight. What do you have to say?
Well, I think it's interesting. Connor, they told him, look, it's up to you. You're a big boy now. I know you got a big metabolism. You're 6'7", but we need you to be bigger. And he went from 255 to 268. Marquis on his own, basically, and I don't think any of us knew this. He played last year at 242 pounds. He said, that's way too big, way too heavy to play in this offense. Yeah. I got to lose some weight. So he's now down to a legitimate 230. He is 230, because I asked him, I said, you just look so much quicker. And he said, well, I am. I'm 12 pounds lighter. And he said, you had to be quicker to play this offense. But those are the kinds of decisions I think that players make that tell you probably some good things are going on, because, the coaches can encourage them and all of that, but that's up to you. Mm-hmm. And he decided on his own, I have to do, and the second thing he decided, I didn't know this, he didn't ever catch a pass in high school, he didn't think. So he went out and worked with Amon-Ra and, worked on the jugs machine, worked catching tennis balls, all of that. And he's really a good pass receiver, got really good hands, good does all the right things. Again, that's a sign of somebody who wants to play and wants to play in this offense. So he's been a big hit. And it was good to see both Steven and Vi came back today and both made a lot of plays. Yep. I mean, they ran the ball inside, ran the ball hard. It'll be interesting to see, where the running back, goes. I mean, because they are going to throw the ball, the running back as well. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out with those three guys.
Mm-hmm. The team practiced in shoulder pads only today, so it was a lighter day than the last two full pad practices that they have. But you kind of touched on it already, Dan, but what were your overall thoughts of today's practice?
I think they went quick, they went fast. They all talk about the same theme also. And today was the day we got to talk the offense. And it doesn't matter if you're talking to a coach or, a lineman or, running back, wide receiver, tight end. The simplicity of the offense is allowing them to play faster. And Coach Drevno said, it helps the offensive line because he said, for example, today was the third install of the first third of the offense. They do a third install every day. So this is the third week. They installed the the first third of the offense again. He said it allows you to do some little touches to it, but it also gets your kids to the point where they know exactly where their helmet's supposed to be, exactly where their feet are supposed to be. They just get that familiarity. The other thing they're doing so well, and he really likes it, is they're driving the ball. They're not staying in the same place, and they're situational, and they'll have 3rd and 2, or they'll use the sidelines. They'll be in the red zone. They'll be at the goal line. I mean, last year we really didn't see a lot of red zone and goal line stuff, and it wasn't as kind of natural to the practice. They're getting a lot more work at the goal line. Again, last year, and then they also in 7-on-7 passing, you see them do a lot of goal line passing. And last year, I always got the sense that when they got to the goal line and had to throw the ball, it was like, what are we going to do now? Is this going to work? Isn't it going to work? Whatever. They've run so many goal line passing plays that it's like they don't have to think about it. They just execute it. And but you can't talk to anybody who doesn't just tell you how great it is to have an offense that they can just repeat and repeat and repeat. And yet, you've got options. It's not like you're running the exact same, as Amon-Ra was saying today. He said, we've got more freedom. He said he's not so sticky in terms of exactly where you have to be. He wants you to get open. He wants you to get to where the green grass is. And he said, they like that it's up to you. I mean, this is I think, a lot more where they're telling the kids, this is your team. It's up to you. You're the guy that's got to lose weight, or you're the guy that's got to put weight on, or you're the guy that's got to decide, what you're going to do if there's a blitz and you're you're a hot route guy. You got to figure that all out, and it's got to happen, boom, just like that. And the scrimmages, when they go 11-on-11 periods, seem more like games. They seem more like they're moving the ball just the way you would in a game. It's not like stop every play, look at the play sheet, and say, okay, here's what we're going to do now. You don't see that. It looks and feels much more like a game.
Yeah. As far as taking ownership, I thought it was interesting. Michael Pittman in his scrum today talked about how JT Daniels took it upon himself to start a group text with some guys to start looking at film as a group together, as teammates. What have you seen from this quarterback competition, and what are you seeing from JT Daniels now that he has a spring to kind of get that leadership established?
Oh, he was the guy today. I mean, they certainly kept him in there 7-on-7. He got a lot of, got a lot of help. Guys, made a lot of catches, made a lot of plays. It was interesting. I thought Matt Fink got a lot of work as the next guy in line. And then actually freshman Keaton Slovis was back, and he got in there before Jack Sears. I don't know what that meant. We don't get to talk to Clay, so we didn't really, get into that. But if you would have watched today's practice, you would have said JT's the starter. Just watching how they practice, he practiced as if he were the starter today through the amount of reps he got and what he was asked to do. So I don't know. He threw one really terrible terrible decision that he was a victim of. Best defensive player probably of the spring, and John Houston, getting from the Mike linebacker all the way to the sideline. And just made a great read, a great hustle play, a great pick, possibly a pick six, but very few middle linebackers are going to be able to make that play. Yeah. So that's the thing you want, John Houston in there for. But other than that, I thought JT had a really good day.
Well, we're on the subject. What have you seen so far about Keely Eure and Mike, John Houston switching from Mike to Will?
Well, I like the thought of it because I think I don't know that they're expecting those guys to just, read and react and take on the blockers. I think they really want the 4 down linemen now to control, the gaps up front. And I think they're really looking for Keely Eure to be the guy that if a UCLA is going to try to keep running the ball and running the ball and running the ball on the edge, that he's going to be the guy in there who's just going to take people out. And so I think, he's kind of the enforcer, from the will. He's got that great lateral mobility, and at 250 pounds, he's got, plenty of, ability to just take on whatever he has to take on, but he can really run with running backs. And I think John, they're going to try to use him just the way they did today. Run with a tight end, run with, run sideline to sideline. He will be different from any, and he's 223 pounds. He's not like, he's 6'3", 223. So it's not like he's, way undersized. But so I like what we're seeing so far.
Mm-hmm. Like Dan said, we haven't been able to talk to Clay Helton yet about injuries and illnesses so far, but I'm going to read the list because there's quite a lot. So out today was Jude Wolfe, Solomon Tuialapupu, Jake Lichtenstein, Caleb Trimley, and Brandon Peely. Brandon Peely, I did know on Thursday, had ice on his left knee, so we're not sure what that is all about. Who was back today was Keaton Slovis and Dominique Davis, and then not in attendance, obviously, Talanoa Hufanga, Greg Johnson, and Isaac Taylor Stewart were out today, not in attendance, so that was a pretty thin DB group. Already thin, but more thin today.
Yeah, you see, and sometimes it is a little hard to evaluate because you see walk-on wide receivers running patterns against walk-on DBs. And so, and it's easy to say, oh, well, that, will that work? But that's what you got. You just keep going and you keep, pushing it, and you keep, you play the guys that are there. Yeah, it really, the secondary today would have benefited if some of those guys would have been here, and not sure why they weren't here, but they weren't here.
Yeah, I have heard that there's a flu bug going around, so maybe more victims of that, but we will see when we talk to Helton on Saturday. But any final thoughts before we wrap up incident for today?
Well, I think there's another day where I think they're getting better. I think they're competing, and I think they're competing with one another. They know jobs are on the line. I like that. I don't want it, that sense of, everything's set in place and it doesn't matter. I think, I like the way they're pushing one another. I like what guys have done in terms of either building themselves up or slimming themselves down. I liked all of that. What else I liked was we saw Ryan Khalil here today, who I don't think he's gained an ounce. For all those years he's played in the NFL as one of the best and sometimes the best center in the NFL. I don't think he's gained a pound since he was never, big, guy in the, in college level. He was always kind of undersized, and to see that he, can succeed at that level the way he has. He's moving back here in June, he said, after retiring, from Carolina. But it's really good to see him here, and we got to see Antoine Woods, who's here becoming more of a regular, who's done, such a great job with the Cowboys. So that's kind of, I think, a pick-me-up when those guys show up here.
Yeah, it almost was a literal pick-me-up. I looked up and I saw this big former lineman giving you a bear hug, and I was like, "What's happening?" But it was a sight to see.
They have a great family. Dad was one of his coaches, and Dad had been a pro player, and I think his mom had been Miss California, and all. They were with his families, and then his little brother was a great, and still is, great NFL lineman. But just good to have those kind, people back in the Trojan family for real, here. And I think he was happy to be back home too, because I think he's lived in Charlotte for maybe whatever it is, 9-10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's a California guy, and it's just great to. I don't know that I'd seen him at a practice since, so that was great.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up for Tuesday's practice. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out USCfootball.com.